Hey everyone, and welcome to Grenades and Horseshoes, where we strive to bring good times, good feels, and general shenanigans every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Welcome
to episode 13.
Ooh, lucky number 13 is Halloween next week.
That was planned.
Ollie.
You hear the howling of the hounds of the Baskervilles in the background.
It's actually Snoopy. Let's mute him.
Snoopy. You just want to touch your nipple, Mark. That's
yeah, that's right. It just so happens that the mouth is
right there.
Right here.
Wait, hand check.
Well, welcome to episode 13 of Grenades and Horseshoes right here on the Planet Destiny channel. Yes, sir, Mark Square.
Yeah, you only have one hand up. Where's that other hand?
I am Mark Square, and this is always this Yuna and Grey Ghost 2E, the race fan over there. For episode 13. So how was the week in Destiny for you guys? Did you play a lot of Destiny? Was on vacation?
I didn't play a lot of Destiny. I should have been able to play a lot of Destiny, but I just found myself super busy with my daughter's cheering stuff and oh, that dog.
Ollie is like the mascot of our show.
Yeah.
He doesn't make a sound until we start.
Yeah, he was totally quiet.
Quiet.
I made sure before I got on I spent like a good 10 minutes snuggling.
Are you going to talk about butt scratching again? Because I don't know if we can go there.
Yeah.
He loves his rump rubs.
There's a new phrase for it. Every
time.
The branding on Ollie's petting is just...
It's like he can hear you guys. I'm sorry. Anyways, I didn't get to play a whole lot of Destiny. I did get to play some Destiny last night. We were supposed to have our normal raid night on Tuesday night, but didn't happen for various reasons. But I had a great time tooling around, doing some PvP and tightening. No, was it Titan? No, it was IO.
Yeah, Flashpoint IO this week. Yeah, It was a blast. I had a good time.
Yeah,
had a really good time.
Yeah, my week, we got to stretch back actually 2 weeks because we weren't able to record our show this past week. Mark was on vacation in Florida. I was on vacation down in Austin. And with, two hosts down, we tried to get Yuna and Ollie to do the show, but it was just going to be a one-sided conversation and a lot of crying on the other side.
It'll just be like me laying on the couch and snuggling and watching TV.
Yes.
And that's not very entertaining.
And here the Twitch audience goes crazy. They want to see that. That's what they're here for. So we were gone, which took a full week out of playing Destiny. But just prior to that, we actually did 2 raids Tuesday night, right before I left for my trip. One of which we were taking a fellow Guardian who had never been in that raid before, and we got all the way up to, I think, the Baths encounter, and we just had Baths and Callus left, and it was a good run, but we just kind of ran out of time because we jumped right into our Tuesday night raid group, which Mark and Yuna and I are a part of. Paris from Gamertag Radio is in that group. SDF Lawn Boy, and then Dakota Dark, and we had a nice 2-hour run, got through Callus and got it all done.
Yep.
The one thing we didn't
at 1 a.m. on the nose.
On the dot, yeah. We have a hard stop at 1 a.m, and literally at 1 a.m. we finished them off. So that felt good. We're getting definitely more fluid in the raid, more confident, more competent. But I don't know, guys. I have not had the courage to jump in and start working at this prestige raid yet. We'll get there. Don't get me wrong. I think we're plenty capable of players, but just given life circumstances and then where we are in the game as well, it's going to be a little bit. Maybe what I'm waiting for is a little bit of a light cap bump. Maybe if I can get my light up just a little bit more so it isn't quite as sweaty, then I'd go into it with a little bit more confidence and that our team would be able to do it in a timely manner. What about you, Mr. Square? What did your week in Destiny look like?
Well, I did my very first Prestige Nightfall, thanks to Napoleon and G-Face. We knocked that out. A couple of content creators for here on the Grenades and Horseshoes show, and we took us 2 tries, and that was last week. That was on Monday night, I think. Yeah, so it was on the previous Nightfall, not this week's Nightfall, and it was a blast. I think I've said that many times though, how much I actually really like the Nightfall as an activity. It feels like a different, experience every time. And then you bump up to Prestige, and then it definitely feels like a different experience. But everything's got to go pretty well. But last week's was fairly forgiving too. It wasn't super terrible. Welcome everybody in chat, Nem and Rudy Boy. So he's talking about wanting to get back on the grind on PC. I did start my PC experience as well. I got up to the point where I got my powers back. And then my regular fire team here is going to get on PC, and they're going to catch up with me. And then we'll run through the story just like we did on the PlayStation. So looking forward to that. It does look beautiful. I have a very pretty epic PC that Gray built me, and it performs beautifully. 4K, 60, uncapped frames. Oh, it's beautiful. It is absolutely a beautiful thing. I feel, and I just play on a controller. I don't mouse and keyboard because I'm a console guy. But it feels like I can aim and hit things better. And I've been told it's just the extra frames. Just make it, your mind is having to fill in less gaps.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
there really is something to that too. Even on the PlayStation and on Xbox. So for a very long time, I had the Xbox in here with the computer, and I'm running off that the monitor, the Predator, and then I moved it back to my TV, which is a nice 60-inch TV, and I love doing Destiny on there. But the first day, and I'm like, man, I stink at Destiny on the TV. I'm like, what is going on here? I can't even move. And so even going from it, I didn't even realize how big of a difference it was, and that's just straight up on the Xbox and different viewing platforms, not even PC to console.
Right, and that's a pretty good point. If you ever watch the tournament players, they play on 20-inch screens max, 17-inch screens, and the idea is that when you have a really big screen, it's hard to track all the movement, but even as opposed to tracking it, your input lag is way higher as well. So if I'm going to be jumping into trials, I typically always do it on my 27-inch monitor, which is probably a little bit big, but it's better than the 55-inch TV that I normally play on. That I'm not going to perform nearly as well just because of my brain trying to take in all the information on a bigger screen. I'm just not going to be able to see everything and register it as quickly. And then I do notice a difference in input lag as I play on a bigger screen like that.
Yeah, definitely. I have a TV that it's got a gaming mode, and that really helps. And it's I forget what kind, Samsung, some kind of a specific Samsung that really has low input lag as well. And it makes a huge difference. I can't play on it either has to be a monitor or it has to be a TV like that now, because you're right. It feels like your mind there's a delay there, and you get used to it eventually. But man, can you notice it when you experience something that's truly smooth and then go back? So I will have to say though, I don't feel, while the PC experience is really good, and it's very smooth, easier to aim, I feel more skilled when I play on the PC. It doesn't affect me to go back to. I'm sorry about the sirens. There's an emergency in the tower here in this cave. Mute it. Okay, it doesn't actually hurt to go back to the place. That's what I was worried about. I was worried I would play on the computer and it would be all these uncapped frames and beautiful resolution, and then I wouldn't be able to play on the console, and then all my friends are there. So I was very concerned about that, but that's not a thing. You don't, going back, you don't even notice it. To be honest, it doesn't seem as smooth or as beautiful, but you can play it without any problem still. There's no issues.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep muting to try to, because he won't stop talking.
Nutty in the chat. Yeah, just Money in the chat says, "Did I break out of prison with this sweater on?"
Oh my God, so true.
It does look like a prison sweater, but I don't think they let you have cool Snoopy if you're in prison. You don't get any privileges if you're in prison.
Let's say that you would attract certain attention that maybe
Yes.
wanted, maybe unwanted. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna enter into wacky sweater season. I think with Mark Square. This is gonna be pretty good.
I've got a lot of pattern sweaters, guys.
Yeah.
Brace yourselves.
Yeah. So if you're listening to the audio only version, through Podbean and iTunes and Stitcher, those platforms, you could stop by our YouTube and check out the live video where Mark does a lot of artwork. We have some videos that we show, and you can see his wacky sweaters.
Yeah, check them out. I got some wacky shoes today. Well, here I'm gonna bring one above board. But not flexible.
You're gonna stick your foot up in the air.
Here we go.
It's a
Oh,
Yeah, nice Wookiee shoe.
shoes.
Wookiee
little
flippers.
Chewbacca slipper there. Yeah.
Nice.
Trademark. Anyway, sorry about that. Sidetrack.
No.
Did we talk about our weeks? I think we pretty much covered that.
Yeah, the only thing that I would want to add, and for those that are listening, this week is a great week if you haven't jumped in and tried the Nightfall, to get in there and try the Nightfall. For one, it's one of the easier Nightfalls, I would think, just in general. The modifiers, you don't have to work so hard at increasing your time to increase your success rate of completing the Nightfall. So if you've been a little intimidated, this is a good week to jump in. You don't have to find relics, you don't have to kill ads, you don't have to jump through hoops. Your time is what your time is, and it's just going to count down. The flip side is that you basically are in like sunbreak mode the whole time. So increased recharge rate on your super, on your grenades,
Nice.
And I would recommend.
I want to do that.
Well, it's a ton of fun
it's
for
like
one, because you
mayhem.
feel super powerful. But I've been running the Striker Titan with double pulse grenades and just destroying. Like I pretty much have a grenade always, and they last for so long. Ads just fall to it. They're not smart enough to leave the area of effect when they start getting damaged by
They're
the
a little
grenade.
dumb.
Yeah, yellow bars.
Oh,
I mean,
wait,
they go down pretty quick. So
Mark
if you've
had
got
that
a
problem last night.
What? Oh my god.
you got stuck in the grenade.
stuffing grenades,
Oh,
yeah.
that was like biggest of all phrasing calls ever.
What?
Just listen to it later. You'll hear it.
Yeah. So it if you've got a Striker Titan, I would say that's probably one of the stronger subclasses to go into this Nightfall because of how strong pulse grenades are in the game. Oh, can't take these two anywhere. Gosh.
I disagree.
I don't get it.
I disagree. I played Night Stalker in the Nightfall. I have a Titan on PlayStation. So, well, I have a leftover one, but he's not even started. Night Stalker, right? And then your dodge to go invisible, it just comes right back, right? So you can almost stay invisible the whole time, which is great for.
Sounds like
for
the
me.
coward's way out. Sure.
Yeah,
All right.
but it's great
It
for
sounds
me
like
as
the
a
Mark
person.
Square way out.
Yeah.
The Derpa Sherpa way.
But the thing that I do like about it is all the stuff like, okay, you got to activate some of these switches, right? You get in there, you stay invisible, you get it done, and it advances the thing quicker, right? And then you help take out the ads with your teammates, and they come through. So, and then you can execute like pinches on stuff, like the enemies are all distracted their way, and you just come in behind them and clean them up. And if you use that vortex grenade, it's not as good as like double pulse grenades, but it's really good. And if you wombo stuff, like you throw your smoke, then you throw the grenade, like the vortex grenade, they can't get away from it. They're stuck there.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's very, very effective. And so you throw the grenade, right? You throw the smoke. It's your grenade's almost back. Like you've almost got another one, right? So,
yeah. I think this is the week to find a fire team, go into guided games. It's going to be a fun experience, and I mean we basically screwed around and still had 5 minutes left on the clock without.
Nice.
So if you haven't done Rat King, right, this is the week to do it as well, because just a little bit of focus and it's not going to be hard to get that completed. Yep.
I like that.
There you go, sir.
Do it.
Yep.
I like
And
it,
on
Mike.
that note, I think we should jump into our first segment of the night, which is Destiny Squared with Mark Square.
It is. So this week we got some pretty cool announcements for what basically we got the roadmap for what Destiny 2 is going to be like, which was seasons, which I was super enthused with all of that to start with, like the Clarion Call, where if you do stuff with your they're giving you paths to get more bright engrams with the Clarion Call. It basically gives you more XP if you're running with your clanmates, right? At least one clanmate. So then you get more XP, which levels you up quicker. You get more bright engrams. And the reason that's necessary is, and I love this, I'm not one of those people that doesn't want other people to have things, right? I like it for everybody to have everything. But there are certain cosmetic items in the game that are only going to be available in Season 1. And I think that's great. I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of what people were wanting with their emblems. You might be muted, Yuna.
And then it's a limited edition.
It's a limited edition, right? So it's kind of like with you wanted certain emblems to come forward from D1, and it was because when you played with people that maybe started in D2, they'd be like, "Hey, where's that emblem? Where do you get that?" Well, it came from, you had to play the previous game. So it's almost like that. So it's a sparrow, a ship, and an emote that are going away. So if you want to be sure you keep these or you get these. The sparrow is called the Dinas Emrys. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Dinas Emrys is how it's spelled. And it's pretty cool. It has like a little dragon design on the front. Really nice sparrow.
Plays well with different shaders. In fact, last night was the first night that I got it to drop from a bright engram.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I got to play around with a few different shaders on it, and it's a good looking sparrow. I mean, if that's your thing, or if you're a collector, definitely try to get that. I don't think it's not for sale though this week, right?
No, I don't think so.
No. So you'll have to kind of watch that, because if it does go on sale, you'll want to grab it up. Otherwise, you just kind of roll the dice with your bright engrams.
Have you guys found
nice.
It is. Have you found a sparrow collection yet?
No.
I haven't.
I haven't either.
Or like a vendor that
means,
shows you, or a kiosk.
So when you get it,
I know that Amanda Holiday has some, but not the ones that you already have.
It's not like a collection. So like you go to your vault, you go to your collection of exotics, they're all there. Your emblems are all there. So that's not a thing. Also for the ship. And the ship is the ship that I use 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I got that watermelon shader on there, talking to you, Lays. And it looks wonderful. It's called Ariana's Vengeance. And the lore tab, if you want to almost cry while reading a lore tab, go ahead and just get your tissues and your comfy blanket and then read the lore tab for that. And the reason I like it is, as far as lore goes, I don't follow it. I haven't in the past. I know enough people now that know about it, and they're getting me excited about it, and I'm finding out things. But I didn't. But in Destiny 1, I did look into one thing, and I loved the Crota raid so much. I looked into Eris's fire team for the raid, for the first Crota's raid.
The Dark Below.
And and then Ariana 3 was a part of that fire team, and so it's her ship, and it's so cool looking. It's like a wedge shape, and it has like this eagle, and it takes shaders really well. It looks really, really beautiful. So that's something, definitely try to get that. And don't delete it. There's no ship collection. Don't delete that. Don't delete the Dinas Emrys. And then the 6-shooter emote, there is an emote collection. So just try to get that 6-shooter emote to drop if you can. But that's going away as well. It's one of the exotic ones where you neon bottles and you pretend to shoot them down. So anyway, I love the fact that the seasons actually, you lose things because it puts a timestamp on your Guardian if you played through those pieces of time.
Sure.
So,
and I do think that it's super ultra important that they didn't just make it so that you could only get it from the bright engrams, because each of these things has come through Tess Everest at some point, and you do get bright dust just by leveling up. So I do think that was a major thing plus for what they did to kind of combat the whole, remember the first Halloween special where they had the the skeleton head.
Yeah, the blue flaming skull.
Yeah.
Nobody could get it for a long time.
Yeah, I think that this was a really good kind of stopgap for that. So yes, you can play the roulette and put in real cash monies into it, but you don't have to.
Yeah, yeah. And King Shawshank is asking, are you saying the ship and Sparrow are going away? Yes, yes. The ones that I was talking about are going away when season two rolls around. Now, that's not to say that later on you won't get a situation where, your Bright Ingrams towards the end of Destiny 2 won't start dropping all the stuff from all the way back like they did. They kind of did that with Destiny 1. So that could
Right.
happen.
Or we might
But,
see things like here's a season one shader package or something like that. You know,
Right.
they tended to do things like that because shader, or I'm sorry, not shaders, emotes, right? You saw that with
yeah.
Eververse where emotes were seasonal. They were, and this was like your fall collection, and maybe you would get a special drop which would give you a fall emote, an emote from the fall collection. I think we're going to see something kind of like that. It would make the most sense, I suppose.
Oh man, jumping in leaves emote would be sweet.
Oh, it would. It would. Almost as sweet as a pull my finger emote. That would be
Of
the
course, you want to
best.
pull your finger.
Yes, I
Can't
do.
take these two anywhere.
One more.
Hey, he's the one with the fart jokes.
One more. You told me to watch Rick and Morty, Gray. You have no moral high ground. That show is phenomenal. And what's funny is that now there's becoming an insult on the internet to say, you complete Rick and Morty fan. So now you've turned me on to it just in time for me to be berated for watching it.
Exactly.
It's circular, this problem. I want to talk about one more thing that is happening in the seasons, and I love this. One more thing. When the next Iron Banner comes around, just no life it, because that samurai armor is not coming back either in the same way the ships are not coming back yet. It'll be a while. So, like, it could be a year, or, I mean, it could be never.
This is where I have to give a shout out to our Guardian 1 own Riot Incarnate, who went through 53 Iron Banner packages before he got his full armor set. So when you say no life it, he knows exactly what you mean. Riot, if you're listening to this, man, kudos to you. He put in the hours to get that full armor set. And Bungie, right? Fix that. I mean, come on. 53, and it's a slow grind to get a package through Iron Banner.
Yeah, you have to win like 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad the guy didn't lose heart, because I mean, I would be pretty toasty after 20 packages and dismantling my 7th pair of gauntlets. You know
how many packages I got?
I
1.
think I got 4 or something, 5.
Yeah, I got up to like 8 or so.
Yeah.
But it was, it's kind of like, well, why didn't you just finish it off at the 10 that your goal is? And I was getting frustrated at dismantling the same things over and over again because they were repeats.
Topo Point in the chat got 66 packages.
No full Topo
set.
Point, buddy.
Oh, no.
My gosh.
That just feels like, that feels terrible. It feels so bad.
Yeah, that feels bad.
Nem was saying that it's possible the samurai armor will return, but the season 2 Iron Banner gear is ornamented. Yeah, so that's the one thing I wanted to talk about with the new armor that's coming out. The way that your ornament is unlocked now is like it builds up. It's what did we used to do before everything was? We did bounties. Did we do bounties? Yeah, bounties. It's like a bounty. And so you'll get a piece of armor. We don't know if it's random rolls or whatever or random bounties on there, but it'll say kill so many X, Y, or Z, win so many Crucible matches, all that. And then when that happens, it unlocks the ornament and you can access it, which I think is a wonderful way to do the ornament, because it's a story, it's a path. Like, I took this through, I did this and this and this with it, and that's why it looks like this, or that's why I have the option to make it look like this. So
Yep. I do have to say, I know that last episode we were almost all of us pretty salty about Iron Banner. This goes a long way to making it better for me, at least. So next time it does roll around, I am going to no life it super hardcore. But
we'll see. I think
to Bungie for I don't know if they had this planned already or if they incorporated feedback and then was like, hey, let's do this or whatever. But kudos for stepping it up.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say whether that was maybe Iron Banner wasn't meant to be the focal point. Maybe it's going to be more of the focal point in the second season or something. That's the thing too. Seasons are themed. One last thing about them. I said that last time. I mean it this time. I mean it. One last thing about seasons is they seem to have a theme. So this first season definitely had a Cabal theme. And if your clan hits top rank, you get your clan banner gets this Cabal themed pole that holds your clan banners. It's really cool looking, right? But that's not. I don't really care. I don't care about that. But what that does tell me is the theme's going to change. So you remember in the past, like new expansions would come out, and suddenly you'd go on patrol, which you weren't unless something was happening. Suddenly you'd go on patrol, and you would have these events would start. You know, like faction rally is a good example of that, right? So you would have these events that would suddenly be different than what you were used to, and you would go do them. Imagine how big of a change that can have. I mean, it had a huge change for faction rally. We went on to patrol. There are all these new things happening, all these new public events, all these enemies that weren't there before. Imagine if the new theme is totally like, you know, it's not Cabal, it's Vex, or it's it's Fallen or something like that. It could change the whole landscape of all the battlegrounds that we're because we use the patrol spaces so much now. We're there for so many things. So anyway, I'm excited about it. I'm super excited for season 2. Does anyone in the chat know when season 2 drops? Has that been announced? Do you guys know? I don't know.
I didn't see any date on that at all. I mean, I would assume that it'll coincide with the next DLC, but we haven't had a date drop on that yet.
Okay.
But
well, they did say it's
going
to launch with the Dawning, right? Which is their Christmas event.
Christmas time.
So again, correct us, chat, because unfortunately I've been out on on vacation and I haven't been following this very closely. If they have announced it or haven't, let us know, and we'll plug that into the show notes.
But somewhere around DLC 1 drop. So
it's probably got to be December-ish if it's going to be the Dawning. I guess maybe they could do January, but that's kind of their Christmas-ish kind of event, which is what. I mean, this isn't I want to just mention for what's missing in season 1 that would have been a nice kind of closeout to this is no Festival of the Lost.
Yeah. I was trying to be so positive today. You had to bring it up.
I was hoping, I think I mentioned in our last show, right, that this week we would be celebrating Festival of the Lost and discussing what Bungie brought to the table, and we get nada. And this, more than anything, has it's shown me that Bungie was operating still on a tighter schedule than they probably wanted to. I have a hard time believing that they were comfortable nixing Festival of the Lost. Even though, right, in year 3, it was a far cry from the experience that we had during year 2. My hope was that they would learn from that and they would bring back a product, the live team would bring something to the table that we would rally behind and say, yeah, Bungie got it right this time. They messed up on year 3. They actually had it backtrack a little bit, and here they righted the ship. And they didn't, right? They actually, they cut it.
Do you want to know why?
I'm really bummed.
I have an excuse. I'm an apologist.
Okay.
So, one of arguably the best raids in Destiny 1 was the Wrath of the Machine raid. Would you agree? I mean, it was a great raid, right? I mean, it was made by the live team. I mean, that was like a live team raid, right? They made that. So my guess is for the launch of Destiny, there's so much new content coming out. You're building a base for a game. And then, your live team from whatever point way back, is working on the second raid and on the second, big, whether it's DLC 1 or 3 or whatever. My guess is they're focusing there.
Did the live team do the raid? Because I thought the live team was supposed to just be doing the quick updates, not the full meat and bones of the upgrade.
For Wrath, they did that DLC and that raid.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something that well, I'm not saying always more is better than not more, right? That's what I'm always keen to have more content rather than less. More content. Yeah. More is maybe not better when it comes to like belly fat. Like, I'm not going to say more is better on all things, but when it comes to Destiny content, more. better. But at the same time, like I'm hoping that the reason that is not there is because and when I say that, that means I hope that next year that team will have released whatever, and then they are able to, lay the ground for the next set of Festival of Lost. So
right.
That's
well, and I think maybe one of the pieces to it that actually bothers me more than anything else is we as very committed diehard players blur the line a little bit between what our real lives are about and what our in-game Destiny lives are about. And that means that these rituals, right, become a little bit a part of our own traditions. And when I think about my Guardian every year, especially as a year 2 player, every year my Guardian celebrates Festival of the Lost. So to have it just not exist is a little bit immersion breaking, right? It changes the dynamic of the world to say, actually, these seasonal events, these holidays and traditions that our Guardians celebrate, they can exist or not exist. It's at the whim of our programmers to decide whether or not, and our finance department and our budget, that this year we're just going to cancel Festival of the Lost. It's not going to be a holiday. And that bothers me because I want to think about my Guardian living in a vibrant world that it's just time moves forward. And with time moving forward, you have these holidays that you celebrate as a Guardian.
Yeah. I do think also it's a little bit of disappointment with the lore, because there is lore-based, of course, when they came out with it, they had to have a reason for what is the Festival of the Lost and, what does this mean and everything. And especially after, ostensibly, we lost a ton of people this year in Destiny. And it almost seems like disrespectful not to acknowledge that.
When you say lost... When you say we lost a ton of people, you're not speaking of the dwindling player base. You're referring to the fact that the city,
I meant like
the city was destroyed, and Guardians, right, lost their lives, and we're not even going to celebrate. We're not going to remember them.
Okay, tons of tons of NPCs died, like tons of them, tons of them. Like
we're not even going to mourn their loss.
Right.
It's like they're just ones and zeros. Just.
I guess they literally were.
Okay. Well, the last thing I'm going to say on that is I love Festival of the Lost. I'm disappointed it's not this year, but I hope it'll be back for next year, and that's it. I'm going to leave it at that.
I agree. So I started out on the PC, and I was looking around because everything was so beautiful.
Yes.
And for those in Twitter,
that's a sleeping bag.
Yeah. So there were a bunch of dead NPCs, but maybe they were just sleeping, because they're at a sleeping bag there. It's a new Monarchy sleeping bag, which I would purchase with Real Life Glimmer if that came out.
Yes.
Would so get that. So maybe they were just sleeping, and then the Cabal left, and they're like, oh, nap over.
Rated T for teen.
Lore by Mark Square. T for teen. Yeah, that's right. Gotta keep it PG up in here.
Well, I think that that's good. Mark, did you have anything else you wanted to share about your thoughts on seasons in Destiny?
Nope. I'm good. That was I talked longer than I intended to about seasons.
I'm
just super pumped about prom.
We're gonna touch on seasons a little bit later in the show, but I think now is a good time to actually have our little segment break where we like to bring in some of our content producers onto the show and showcase some of the things that they've been working on. So for our next segment, Mark, tell us a little bit about this little endeavor that I think it was started by the DCA, right?
Right. So what happened was it's PlainBen. He's in the DCA, so you can find him at PlainBen on Twitter and at plain.ben on Instagram. And what happened is one morning in the DCA, the Destiny Community Artist chat, we're always in there, doing art talk with our berets on and our, all that. So he says, someone just make a blob or a doodle on paper and I'll turn it into a gun, right? Mm-hmm. And so Indulgent Human, another artist from the DCA at Indulgent Human on Twitter, he just was like, okay, here you go. And so he just threw this, took a marker to back of a receipt or something there and sent it in. And then I'm talking like maybe 10 minutes later, PlainBen posts this into the DCA chat, right? Not, no big deal. But this was the beginning. So this gun that he made is called what is it called? The
Prime Indulgence.
The Prime Indulgence. So there's an extra wrinkle. So here at Grenades and Horseshoes, and I personally just love stuff like this that is like a game within a community that's about a game. It's very circular. I love it. And he has gone on to do so many of these. PlainBen has this is just the beginning. We'll do one more today. But so what we did is we checked out the guys over at Focus Fire Chat. We cooperate with them here on the show. They know so much about the lore. We got them to actually create flavor text and lore for this. So the flavor text he came up with for the Prime Indulgence is "Life is sweet," which is awesome. That's I could imagine opening this up in the game and getting that as a flavor text. And then he actually recorded some lore for the gun itself. If we could play that.
Yep, and this is Blue Crew _86 on Twitter. Lore that him and the team over there at Focus Fire Chat. And
before you play it, and also at Green Eyed Music Lover. So GRNEYEDMUSIKLVR on Twitter, and they're both on the Focus Fire Chat podcast. Yep. Great.
They have a great podcast, all lore focused. So if you want to get your fill of lore, Bife frequents their show as a guest, and they come up with some great content. So Blue came up with this, and their team over there. It wasn't just him, but he recorded this for us to enjoy.
The emergence of competition has always pushed existing businesses to find new and innovative ways to do things. Weapon foundries are no different, and Omolon has always boasted to be among the cutting edge. The use of experimental technology, mixed with the telling ergonomic design, has always produced aesthetically pleasing results. The Prime Indulgence is no exception. A long-range rifle built with not just raw power but also a pleasing design, the Prime Indulgence offers a new approach to their already revolutionary design on power cells. Housing an arc coil in the place of the usual liquid ammunition display, Omolon has stepped up its game, bringing even more devastation to the field with a beautiful flourish. Life is sweet, and the Prime Indulgence means to prove that sweetness isn't just fluff.
Nice.
I like
That's
that end of that one.
Yeah, me too. It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, so Focus Fire Chat, also on Twitter. Also, if you check them out on Twitch, same at Focus Fire Chat, Friday at 10 p.m. is when their show is. But let's go on to the next one. Now, this one's called the Lore Apocalypse gun, and you can see, obviously, that first one he did in 10 minutes. He spent a little more time. But he's done so many. He's not spending he's just an incredible artist. So he's added a little background there, added some font. But look at the doodle she sent him there, just like some squiggly lines, and then he turned it totally into that. The flavor text is "The end approaches, but the apocalypse lives forever." And this doodle was done by Laura Apocalyptic on Twitter. Laura Apocalyptic, so you can check her out too. She's a content creator. But yeah, I love this one, and he recorded a lore for this one as well.
As a foundry, Vice has entered the market offering highly advanced weapons specially designed for Guardian use. The Lore Apocalypse Scout Rifle is one of their newer designs, and brings to the already impressive armory a model which is built specifically for Guardians who are looking for something quieter, but still powerful enough to finish the job. The rifle retains what has come to be recognized as the Vice standard flourish. The blade-like fans on the body and the standard issue colored in the Poison Shimmer shader, complemented by functionality. The foundry has also attached their proprietary silencer to the rifle, further customizing the weapon for specific use in the field. Vice presents the Lore Apocalypse not as a multifunctional tool, but as an answer to a very specific situation. It's a bold step for the foundry, which has previously stuck with all-purpose designs, but possibly a very profitable one, given the initial reception from the hunters who scout the wilds.
Ooh, specific to the hunter.
Yes.
Well, probably not specific, since Spiced is about the bottom line and selling the most possible. But
Right.
Yeah, great stuff. Great
Love
stuff.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we've got probably about, I would say 12 or so of these that are, somewhere in the works. Again, PlainBen's doing awesome art, and we thank all of the supporters that have submitted their doodles. I think even you, Mark Square, you submitted a doodle, right?
I did, but I decided to make it like nearly impossible to make a gun out of. So I don't know that because what I did is I did a splats of ink, like Rorschach style.
Yeah.
Well, not Rorschach. I didn't fold it over, but it's just like
Yeah, like Jackson Pollock.
big splats. Yeah. So I don't know. It would have to maybe be a relic from a raid or something. I don't know. But I mean, I've seen him turn ridiculous stuff into guns and make it look believable. Like
Right.
Faisal did the same thing, and I think we ended up he entitled that one Faisal's Ridiculous Gun.
Yeah, so we'll be bringing a lot more of these.
Yeah.
We'll scatter them out at future episodes. Do a couple here or there. But thank you for Blue Crew and Focus Fire Chat, Green Eyed Girl, that whole team there, and all the work they did. PlainBen, of course, and thank you for lending your time and talent to the Grenades and Horseshoes show.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And I
Thanks a
think
lot.
that takes us into our next segment of the show, Gray's Ghost Stories, where I'm going to go right back in to seasons. And what I want to talk about is how seasons need championships, right? I am just coming off of, and you can see that I'm a big race fan. I was down in Austin for the Formula One US Grand Prix. Their season is almost wrapped up. They got a couple more races, and the championship is pretty much all but determined at this point. For season 1 in Destiny to end, and for us to not have a leaderboard, to have a scoreboard, to have a place in game where I can go and I can look at either how my clan or how as an individual have accomplished certain things in the game and see where I rank is just a missed opportunity. I think Bungie could make this game even that much more enjoyable, especially for somebody like me who loves the spirit of competition. If I could go into my clan page and see that, hey, our clan has done X amount of raid clears, which means that we are in the somewhat percentile, or we're ranked number whatever out of whatever for season 1. And then I love the idea of having a reset and starting all over, so that your history, right, your either lack of performance or as you were developing and focusing on different aspects of the game, doesn't carry on with you forever, right? One of my biggest gripes is I'd love to have a strong efficiency in the game, a strong kill assist over death ratio. The issue is I screw around a lot in Crucible. There's times that I want to be really try hard, and I go in there and I'm focused in trials, and I play really hard, and I can pull out great efficiencies. And then there's the time that the three of us are just chewing the fat and figuring out what we want to do, and I'm going to be throwing up 0.8s and stuff, and unfortunately my time is spent more screwing around than it is being very serious in the game. So it'd be really nice to even see those metrics reset at the end of a season, so that I can say, you know what, for these next few weeks to a few months, I'm really going to focus on this metric and see how far I can climb during season 2, knowing that in season 2 maybe it's Crucible that I really care about, and I want to see what kind of rank I can pull off. Maybe season 2 ends, season 3 starts, and now I want to help my clan build up their rank on Nightfalls or on raids or something like that.
Right.
I really think that seasons need championships, and I think that they need to put the same kind of fanfare, excitement, energy into that championship race as they do the raid race. I mean, think about the kind of buzz that they could build as we're talking about different clans, Math Class, Rezo, Lumo, all these top clans fighting for that top position, and it having to be a community that's building and supporting these clans that's rising them to the top. And then that season ends, and maybe that clan, they get a special emblem that only that clan gets, something like that. I think that Bungie needs to take the idea of seasons to the next level and have championships built into it. What do you guys think?
I think that's a great idea. Whether we'll see something like that anytime soon, I probably don't think so, but I do think that would be amazing to see. And that they did a little bit of some stat stuff, like for example in D1 in the clan, in individual clans, you could see where you stood. amongst clan members, because even that I would take, because that's cool, being able to be like, oh, I got that. And then honestly, it wouldn't even need to be in game, I don't think. I mean, they could just have it on the the Bungie website.
Right, because that was taken away too, right? We don't have clan leaderboards now on the new refreshed Bungie site. Granted, it's a work in progress. We all know it's not in its final version. So hopefully that's a big ask from us at Guardian 1, because we love seeing how our clanmates rank. But even more importantly, I'd love to see how our clan fares against the other clans that are out there. I'd like to see how that trending is going, and the data is there, right? I mean, Destiny Tracker pulls in a lot of this information, and you can look up a lot of these metrics. I gotta believe all that's coming out of the Bungie API. Bungie has access to this information. It's just, how do they want to deliver it? Do they want to deliver it back to us?
That's what I was going to say. Is there a game design reason that you can think of for not wanting to do this? I can't really think of one. I mean, I'm sure there would be unhealthy people doing very unhealthy things as far as that goes. Like, they're going for the nightfall metric and they do nothing but, you've got one guy that dies in his living room, on his 80th nightfall that week or whatever, but I'm not saying that that's what would happen. But, what I'm trying to decide, is there a reason why they wouldn't want to do that? I can't think of one. There's specifically a few ideas that you had that I'm super excited about. One of them involving the resetting of your metric on like a competitive playlist or something. If you look at the way Halo 5 does it, that's how it works, right? And you build your way up through these tiers, and it's like they use like diamond and onyx and all this stuff. And then when the season's over, though, you do 10 matches to qualify, and that's what rank you start in, and you go up and down from there. I think that's a great idea, but I would like, whereas Destiny 2 is not about the individual, where Halo is very much about, it's about being competitive individually. Destiny 2 is all designed about teamwork and clans. And so I think it would be cool if, instead of it being a thing where, you're personally obtaining a certain rank, it would be cooler if it was more, I think I could see them doing it more like participation based, checking all the boxes. Has the bulk of your clan checked all these boxes? Like, have they done their nightfall? Have they done this and this and this? And as far as testing to see what clan is edging other clans out, rather than it being such a competitive thing, I could see them doing that where it's so community based. I would love to see some of that stuff implemented, though. That would be amazing. Yeah, and you're right. Like, if say part of the metric is how well is your clan completing activities, it could work a couple ways. Number one is people could kick people out of their clan that aren't completing activities, which would be unfortunate. But the flip side is, if
you really
encourage,
want to be in that clan anyways, then probably
not. The flip side, though, is if it gives incentive and encouragement that for you as a clan to work together, and you would identify and be like, hey, Mark, I see that you haven't done the Nightfall and Prestige yet, and our top two guys have run the Prestige 100 times. We would love to get you in with them so you can run it, kind of thing. And you could be a player that says, I'm not really into that kind of try hard content, or you could be like, yeah, that sounds great. Have a couple people take me through. I'd love to do that kind of an activity.
Yeah.
So it could build it. Yep. Which is one more than I've done. But I could, they have to be careful that the spirit of competition stays fun and lighthearted, and that as much as we're, it would create competition and we would be competitors in the game, we would also need to remember, they'd have to build it in such a way that we remember that we're all Guardians, right? I was really impressed at looking at the Formula One drivers out there, and how, while they're fiercely competitive on the track, they're all part of a very select group of individuals that are not necessarily that antagonistic towards each other off the track. And there's just an attitude there that if we could replicate, right, that we as Guardians are like, well, we're Guardians first, and then we're into friendly competition after that, and build that kind of a culture. I think it could work. that would be the only reason why I think that they wouldn't do it, is that they think it would have a negative impact on the community as a whole if they were to put those kinds of competitions. And I don't know if it would. I mean, it's tough to categorize and to identify what this entire community would or wouldn't respond to. There's a risk.
Yeah, I've seen just like it be. The community's in a weird place right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of inaccurate stuff being thrown around, a lot of leaks. We're not going to talk about any of that stuff here.
No.
It's, it's astounding to me that some things that are that some people see as so positive, others see as so negative, but that's just human nature. I've had a few aha moments where, and this even unrelated to the game, where people will say something that makes it clear that their thinking on something is so 180 degrees from where my thinking is, that I'm surprised that we are from the same planet. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, what? How could you have this, and this as your information, and then twist it to this? So anyway, moving on.
So I would say, even if Bungie, I still think, I'm going to stand firm that I think that seasons need championships in some form. Whether it's an end of the season event that's timed and you get to do certain things to try to get on a leaderboard, whether it's tracking through the whole season. I think if you're going to have seasons, you got to have championships.
SRL had it, right? There was an SRL leaderboard. I know because a guy I knew, he was first place for a while.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of these metrics are tracked in other avenues. Like Destiny Tracker does a fantastic job of cataloging this information. You can look these up. I just want to see that in the game a little bit more, or at least on the Bungie website. Pull in clans, show your clan ranking for certain activities. And the other thing is allow resets, right? I want to see my emblem for Crucible show my Season 1 KD, my Season 2 KD, my Season 3 KD, and then my running aggregate KD. Like, why not? That would be wonderful, and I could actually trend and see, am I improving? Am I not improving? And granted, I can go in and I can get some of that information looking at Destiny Tracker, but, pull some of that in, and then maybe some players would be more engaged in going back into this game in a new season because it's a reset and they have a chance to set some different metrics and see how they're going to perform.
Well, and I think too, one of the keys, and they could add this pretty easily, would be, there is a competitive playlist, right? And I think it's done differently, we know for sure, than the casual playlist. But if they had a playlist that was a championship playlist, right, and you legit have a rank, right? They can separate it out, totally separate it out. Make it, maybe to set it apart from the pack. Maybe it's doubles. Maybe it's 3 people, to a team, even if it's 4, it's whatever. But
all Rumble.
Definitely turn off skill-based matchmaking for that too, because then it should be rank-based matchmaking.
Yeah, exactly. It would just be based on your rank. Yeah, you would move up or down. I would love something like that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you guys, have thoughts, if you agree or disagree, feel free to reach out to us with your feedback at gnhfeedback@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Or if you're watching live, feel free to type in the chat. And if you have a perspective or opinion, we'd love to share it here on the podcast. So that wraps up Gray's Ghost Stories for this week. Not too spooky, even though it's right before Halloween. And we'll finish off with Yuna's Musings. Yuna, what do you want to talk about tonight?
I really wanted to end tonight because I've seen a lot of negative stuff the last couple of days with the community, even with the launch. And I really want to end something off on spotlighting something that's great about the community. And that, on a little light note, like I said, there's so much negative stuff going around recently that it's easy to lose track of all the good that the community does, specifically with charity work. Every month, there's something amazing going on for charity and trying to raise money or trying to raise funds. And there's so many people that play this game that have such, big hearts that just try really hard to help people out that can't necessarily help themselves. So I wanted to highlight a couple of those. So first off, the first thing I wanted to highlight was the Dames of Destiny breast cancer charity stream. So the stream's all done. It was this past weekend. It was amazing. There's so many different things. I mean, Belle Bunny was awesome. She ate all kinds of gross things to raise money.
Oh, God.
Oh, it was so
Bugs?
like I caught a little bit of it. It was so
Rabbit
gross,
bugs.
but like, you know, that takes a lot of, you know, guts.
And this is
To
their.
do that.
Have they done that now 3 years
Okay.
running? At least 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it gets better every year. And everyone puts in so much effort for that. And you know, I didn't participate this year, but you know, hopefully next year I'll be able to participate. But you know, I'm just so proud of them. And you know, I'm a dame. I may not rock the dame tag, but you know, once a dame, always a dame. So very proud of that clan and what they do there. In fact, even like Fallout and Mega, they had their own segment on it, and
Nice.
I saw Fallout got a pie to the face while wearing a banana outfit, which was pretty funny. And Mega gave him, they raised up enough money and they hit the goal where he has a pink mohawk for the rest of the month.
Yeah,
And
I did
it
see
is
that.
pink and glorious.
Yeah.
I thought you
So-
were going to say he had to shave his beard. I mean, how much
No.
money could he got for the beard?
Oh wow, I have no idea, but it's like this little mohawk and it's hot pink.
It looks
and it's
nice.
Glorious.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
I have to give
glorious.
them, yeah,
Glorious
give them
pink
a
mohawk.
definite shout out, Fallout and Mega, who are on the Planet Destiny podcast for supporting the Dames and their breast cancer awareness stream. Do you know the final total of how much they raised in their stream?
Well, there isn't a final total, and that's
Okay.
definitely another thing I wanted to bring up is that even though the stream itself is closed, the link for donations is actually still live until the 31st, so it ends Halloween night. So
Okay.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that into chat, if that.
And we'll add it to our show notes too for the iTunes and then our YouTube channel, so you guys can see where you can donate if you would like to support that cause. Definitely.
Right. I totally I went to copy it and it deleted it instead.
Don't.
So we'll put that in the show
Nerd
notes.
fail.
Yep, nerd fail. I went from my Mac to my PC and different keystrokes for different computers.
Different folks.
Different keystrokes for different folks. I think we might
So-
have made
Anyway.
up a nerdism.
What other charity streams
We'll
are going
throw that
on
in
out there?
Another couple of ones that I wanted to kind of highlight is, and this is one that actually Mark turned me on to, because I had actually didn't know that he did this, but Dezarus, so Dezsarus, that's his handle
Wait.
on Twitter. What?
DEZSARUS. Yeah, you got it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, originally I thought it was Saurus. I'm like, ooh, Desaurus, like.
Yeah, I know.
Tyrannosaurus, but no, it's Desaurus. Dezarus.
Same.
See, now I'm saying
It's a
it
thesaurus.
like a thesaurus. No, but that has to
Sorry,
be you
Des.
also.
Just cracked on your name for like 5 minutes.
But Mark was telling me he does these amazing, he does almost weekly charity streams that benefit St. Jude. And, you know, St. Jude is one of my favorite charities, not only because of, you know, Guardian Con and, you know, although that is awesome. I love raising money for Guardian Con. It's always a big, you know, ooh, can we top last year? It was so cool every year. But, you know, I have a daughter and she's 7, and, you know, while, you know, we didn't need help from St. Jude when she was little, she had to have spinal surgery. So anything to do with kids and kids hospitals and stuff make me, you know, really, you know, sentimental, because my kid was really lucky, and not everyone has that with their kids. And so it's always a big thing for me to support those types of, you know, charities and take care of our children, because we should be taking care of our children. So I really love that he does that. And so I'm going to try to check it out the next time. So his Twitch channel is twitch.tv / and it was just his name, right? DEZSARUS.
That's
So
Yep.
And Mark and I, we had the
super
chance
great
to
guy.
meet with
Yeah, we met
Des when we were out at PAX, and he's a great guy. Definitely, support him in his cause, especially if you feel strongly like we do about St. Jude's Children's Hospital. It's definitely the charity that the Destiny community has rallied behind the strongest. So every week he does a stream that goes, all the funds go directly to that. Great.
Yeah, which is great. I do know coming up, there's going to be, there's always all kinds of charities, especially this time of this year. But the Child's Play charity is a really great charity. I do know that there's some people in the community putting forth a 24-hour one now. I don't want to name names because I haven't talked to them, so I'm not sure if it's like out there exactly the date or anything like that. So I don't want to like drop that bomb on them by accident. But there's always stuff coming up. So this is actually something I'm going to try to do every couple of episodes, is highlight what's upcoming for charities and, give kudos to everyone that's actually working really hard in the community to bring the light to someone that is kind of in the darkness. So
That's awesome. The Dads of Destiny just did a charity stream too for lung conditions, and they.
The Breathe Easy. Yep, I couldn't remember the name of it. Right there, and I'm like, I need to ask Mark. I didn't get a chance to.
And actually, it should be brought out that Yuna helped to support that stream. Yuna and I both. We did a series of art together that was given away as prizes on that on that stream. The Elf on the Shelf, or the Guardians on the Shelf series. A fedora on Ikora and
the fedora and
Koala on Zavala. Yeah, so I do like if you have a charity that benefits health or mental health. That's an issue that's personally pretty close to my heart as well. I'm definitely willing to donate art to that so that you can raffle it off and raise money for different charities. I'm working with Des now to get him a fairly regular art prize to do that with on his stream. And anybody else that has something like that going, just feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at @marksquare_, and I'd be happy to help. That's something that I'm with on that. It's something I think is a really special thing, and I think it's something that that people don't really give the Destiny community enough credit for. We all we're all very passionate about the game, and we argue about it, and we rib each other about it. But then when it comes right down to it, it's one big family that's trying to look out for each other and trying to do the right thing. So it's really a special community. So kudos to everybody that's doing that type of work out there. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, and we definitely want to put put our actions also behind the words that we have. And Mark Square, myself, while we don't stream a ton on our personal channels, we both have our personal channels set up that any donations that come through on those platforms go to charity 100%. We don't actually take any of the funds from any donations that come through, or follows and that kind of thing. My charity that I've been supporting is takethis.org, which basically is to support individuals that suffer from depression and mental health concerns and issues, isolation. Started by a group of guys who played a lot of video games and Dungeons and Dragons and those kind of things, and had a buddy that committed suicide that they just had no idea that he even was struggling. And it's supposed to raise awareness and then support those and make sure that people can get plugged in and get the support and care that they need. I know Mark has supported that charity as well on his channel. So if you ever do feel like, checking us out when we are out there streaming and want to do, do a donation or something like that, just know that all that does go to charity. Nothing that we are collecting on that.
Yep.
Yep.
So I wanted to end on a little light note, Guardians helping Guardians, but in this case it's Guardians helping, other Guardians, in some cases little lights, and everyone knows someone that has something going on in their lives. And so I just really, really wanted to recognize, all the good work that Guardians do, especially with all the salt that's been going around. We need to be a good example for our new PC brethren. So
Yep. Welcome, PC players.
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome to the fold.
And that was it for me this week, actually.
Perfect. That was a great segment, Yuna. And I think
Yeah.
it does settle very nicely with, there's balance, right? We've got some dissatisfaction with where the game is and what Bungie is going to be delivering. We have hope because we know what Bungie can pull off. We know that they've got some time to make things right, but more importantly, it doesn't change who we are as people, as a community, and as guardians. And we want to definitely be steadfast in our commitment to support those that are in need in this community.
Yep.
And I don't think that has been shaken, even with a little bit of a downtime in Destiny 2.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up episode 13. Any final thoughts from Mark, from Yuna? Anything you wanted to share?
No, just thanks for tuning in, everybody. We've got some big news coming up shortly for the Grenades and Horseshoes show.
Yes.
More great stuff to come, and more effectively trying to communicate with you as the community and reaching out. And we might have some good news coming up. Well, we will. We will have some good news.
Will.
Yeah.
We are, all three of us as well, heading to PAX East. If anybody is planning on that, that's going to be here before you know it, up in Boston. Definitely reach out to us. Yeah. So, and then of course after that,
Guardian Con. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody who joined us in the chat tonight. If you didn't make it into the live stream, check us out on iTunes, on Podbean, on the Google Play Store. You can find us on Twitter. Follow us throughout the week. We're at GNH Show. That's our handle. If you have feedback or would like to produce a segment for the show, reach out to us at gnhfeedback at gmail.com. And then as every week, we're going to have our great announcer, Jelly, take us out. We'll see you guys next week.
Night.
Bye.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you can't catch the live show, then you can find the replays on the Grenades and Horseshoes YouTube channel. If you'd like to stay connected to the community during the week, you can reach us at our show Twitter handle, at GNH Show, or at our individual handles, at @MarkSquare_, at GreyGhost2E, and at Unalala. We're also open to any ideas you may have or seeing any clips that you would like to send in. Please send the feedback to gnhfeedback@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.